Okay, question 11. Let f be the function defined by f of x equals the square root of x minus 2 and the absolute value of that for all x. Which of the following statements is true? Okay, guys, so the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and graph out this function. But let's just say that f of x, let's say that it was just x minus 2. Let's say there was no absolute value here. What would that look like? So if we graph out this function, we can see that the lowest value of x that is possible for this function, it has to be x equals 2. Because whenever we have f of 2, we're going to get 2 minus 2, and that's going to be the square root of 0, which is just 0. If I go any more than that, so let's say I did f of 1, then I get 1 minus 2, the square root of that, and then I get the square root of negative 1, which is equal to I, which is an imaginary number, and we're not going to include it in the real number line, right, in the real plane. So what I'm going to do is I will center my function here. Assuming we don't have the absolute value, I'm going to center my function at x equals 2. So I will put that right here. So this is going to be 2. And it's going to look something like this because it's a square root function. Okay, so now the question is, what happens whenever we add this absolute value sign? Now, whenever we add the absolute value sign, we get rid of all those negative values, right? So if I have f of 1, I will have 1 minus 2 absolute value, and then I'll have negative 1, but again, the absolute value of negative 1 is just going to be 1, which is 1, okay? So therefore, what's going to happen is we're actually going to get a reflection about this point here. So it'll look something like that. Okay, so now that we know that, we have to ask ourselves, what actually happens at this point here? Now, if we were to zoom in on this point, so let me go ahead and zoom in on this point. If we were to zoom in, you would see that it is actually, and again, I'm just zooming in here, that it is actually going to be a sharp turn, or I think that's the term that they use. It's basically like a sharp point. Now, anytime that we have a sharp point like that, we cannot, or I'll say it is not differentiable. Okay, so with that in mind, we can get rid of answer choice B because, again, it's that sharp point. Okay, now the question is it continuous? And if we see here, at x equals 2, 2 is going to be included in the domain. So if I do f of 2, I will get, oops, sorry, that should be a 2. So I'll get 2, absolute value 2 minus 2, take the square root of that. It is going to be the square root of 0, which is just 0, which is in fact valid. So it is going to be continuous. So anything that says it's not continuous, we can get rid of that. Let's see here, and I think this is just a single answer only. Yeah, so E is definitely not correct. It's not a vertical asymptote, and the limit as x approaches 2 is no, it is equal to 0. We know that. So yeah, therefore answer choice is going to be A. It is continuous, but it is not differentiable at x equals 2. All right, guys, hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.